It's been 19 years since the founding of Turkey's ruling AK Party. Over its nearly two-decade history, the AK Party has guided Turkey through a tumultuous era that saw multiple wars on its doorstep, economic reforms, and a failed coup that changed the nation forever. To get a better understanding of how Turkey has fared under the leadership of the AK Party, I'm joined by the co-editors of the book, AK Party Years in Turkey, Domestic and Foreign Policy, Burhanettin Duran and Kilic Kanat. Mr. Duran is the general coordinator of SETA Foundation and a professor at Haldun University, and Kanat is a research director at the SETA Foundation's Washington, D.C. branch and an associate professor of political science at Penn State University. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Burhanettin, there are lots of books on AK Party. Tell us why you needed to write this kind of a book on AK Party years, why it is different than the other publications.
Yeah, there are many books on AK parties because, AK Party is a controversial political actor because of its long years of power. But Kilic and me realized that there are many books, but many of them are based on some pejorative understanding, even some neo-Orientalist understanding of depicting, stigmatizing, stereotyping AK Party as authoritarian or dictatorship. But the reality, since 2001, through 15 elections, AK Party is in power, and AK Party is able to change Turkey in the last 2 decades. So what is the reason for this success? What are the sources of this success? Then we have looked at, examined the basic policies and ideological transformation and pragmatic leadership by President Erdogan. So we have discovered that this is not the story just about competitive authoritarianism or something like that. It is the true power of AK Party to appeal to people and to change its policies on time when they realize that there's a mistake, something wrong here, and they change their policies and they adapt to realities of world politics.
Throughout those years, AK Party governments, successive governments, have faced several crises. Let's say 2007 presidential elections, as well as July 15th failed coup attempt. Could you just elaborate on us how Turkey and AK Party managed to pull that off dangers throughout those years?
So actually, even in the first year of AK Party, there was a crisis in the region. So US invasion of Iraq. And following that, the invasion continued. And after 10 years, Arab Spring started. So in the region, there were challenges and opportunities for AK Party. And domestically, there were multiple challenges. This was a totalitarian regime. So both some segments of the military and judiciary tried to overthrow AK Party.
Yes.
And this was a pattern that came all over the years since the establishment of this republic. And since then, there were multiple coups and coup attempts. But the one thing I think AK Party achieved is the people's will. So it was very much connected to the people. And each and every time when there is a crisis or when there is a coup attempt or e-memorandum type of postmodern coup, something comes up, immediately there was a referendum or there was an election, and AK Party basically told those elements of totalitarian regime, let's go to the election, let's ask the people, let's see what these people want. And we see that in 2007, after July 15 coup attempt, there was always a people's will behind the democratically elected governments. And the people in Turkey didn't want to change the process of democratization in Turkey. That started with the 2001 European Union reform packages and everything.
Does Turkey still maintain its EU vision?
Well, yes, but we should ask another one. Does the EU has such a vision? As you know, since 2007, Turkey is trying to continue in this way. But still, we know that there is a policy change. There is a policy of government in France and Germany that they are not eager to accept Turkey as a member. So, but something is certain that Turkey places itself on the critical shaping role of Europe. And Turkey knows that economically, strategically, and politically, Turkey is a part of Europe. But at the same time, this should not be considered as a passive role, passive part of Europe. You know, there are many challenges in today's world politics, and Turkey is ready to accept them, to face them, these challenges.
And engage in dialogues, maybe?
That's why Turkey is following an assertive foreign policy in Syria, in Iraq, in Libya, and in the Eastern Mediterranean basin.
Is it because of Syria, Libya, fight against the PKK, for example, the reason why some Western countries choose to describe Turkish politics as neo-Ottoman or expansionist?
Yes, certainly, but I have to underline something, that Turkey, well, is the last actor to be involved in Syria, to be last actor to be involved in Iraq and in the Eastern Mediterranean basin. Turkey is trying to protect its national interests, certainly, but this is not a extensionism or the expansionism. This is not a dream of imperialism or something like that, neo-Ottomanism or Islamism. It's just a pursuit of national policies, national interest, like the other states are trying to do. And Turkey is ready for this, for diplomacy, but at the same time, when it is necessary, Turkey is again ready to assert some hard power on the table.
So what are the main challenges, in your opinion, lie ahead of Turkey?
Well, there are domestic challenges, and there are, of course, the foreign policy challenges. I think one of the most significant one is in regards to the U.S. foreign policy. And there is so many unpredictability in regards to the future of U.S. foreign policy, what they want to do in the region. And as a superpower, what U.S. does in the region creates significant risks, not only for Turkey, for all of the countries in the region. So one of them is this unpredictability, uncertainty, indecisiveness that is so much obvious in U.S. foreign policy. The second one is much more regional focused, Eastern Mediterranean. There are too many stakeholders. There are too many countries that wants to be involved in this process, and Eastern Mediterranean represents most of the countries, in Europe, and both Russia and United States, a competition ground. So they want to be present. It is almost a proxy.
Do you feel that besides the European countries, other Arab countries are joining hands against Turkey's assertive foreign policy?
Well, there have been almost a coalition, countries like Egypt, because Turkey endorsed the democratically elected government. And this is the interaction between domestic policy and foreign policy in Turkey. So when Turkey rejected a coup attempt in Turkey, this is a decision of principle. So they didn't want any kind of coup attempts or coups that would overthrow the governments. So in Egypt, the coup attempt, and normal, as a way of showing the support, never improved its diplomatic relations with the, putschists after that. And those who supported the coup, including Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates, automatically become anti-Turkish. So it wasn't something that Turkey does, but what they did was not acceptable for Turkey, because for not only Turkish government and Turkish public as well, has a very principled stand, as we see in July 15 coup attempt, in regards to how the government needs to have a transition, a peaceful transition, and how democratic system needs to be abided and managed.
So, Burhanettin, why do you think some of our European friends acted reluctantly to condemn the coup attempt? And do you believe that now they have a better understanding of this FETÖ organization?
Well, still they need something better about this, because there is such a reluctance that Turkey's position is not understood properly by Turkey's allies.
Is it Turkey's fault?
Europe and the US. Well, of course, all actors have some responsibilities, but the larger part is on the side of our Western allies, because Turkey is trying to explain what happened at that night, July 15. But since 2013, there are some problems around us because of the turbulence of our region. And our allies from Europe and Washington are not ready to understand what is really Turkey's problems and what are the challenges to Turkey. And they are reluctant in understanding Syria's problems. They just see Daesh, not anything else. But you know, a terrorist organization is supported by the US, PKK,
I was gonna ask
YPG,
that, yeah.
such a critical problem, and they need more and more enthusiasm with Turkey's problems as allies.
Yeah, Kilic just previously mentioned that, I mean, Turkey-US relations have been rocky during those times. And we know that Democrats are supporting the PKK-linked YPG in northern Syria. So what kind of stance Turkey will adapt if unless Trump gets reelected?
So there is, I think it is much more complicated than the Democrats and Republicans. I think there was a lack of strategy in U.S. foreign policy in regards to Syria. So in the lack of strategy and overarching strategy, what happens is the forces that are on the ground, more tactical and operational forces, started to shape the policy through their action. So CENTCOM became the principal actor that shapes the foreign policy, and this is against the active civilian control of the military in the U.S. as well. However, they started to shape the policy by supporting YPG, by harming relations with Turkey, and there was actually a tension between the European command of the United States and Central Command in regards to future of Turkey's future of Turkey-U.S. relations. So, if the Democrats come to power, I think they need to realize one thing. It is very critical. When you look at the foreign policy platform of Biden, you will see that there are some priorities: improving relations with NATO. So, and the two critical points of NATO's engagement is Black Sea and Eastern Mediterranean. Turkey is a major stakeholder. Turkey is a major actor within NATO. A second priority is stabilization of Iraq, Syria, and improvement relations in Iran. And all of those countries are neighboring Turkey.
Yeah. So unfortunately, gentlemen, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk. Appreciate it a lot.